I'm going to play, it's going to be 100% commitment. Brett Favre, 2013, Sports Illustrated magazine article, Sportsman of the Year. Favre said this in his last season with the Packers. Now, why this year is important to me is because in third grade, I got the opportunity to go watch him in person. I got to see Favre throw for 2 touchdown passes, run for a touchdown, and I got to see him jump in the crowd. Now, it was an amazing experience for me because Favre is my icon who I look up to. Now, everybody has an icon who they look up to, whether it's sports or something else that they look up to. They use that for inspiration. Inspiration to do great with their lives. So today I'm going to tell you about the life and career of Brett Favre and my icon. But first I'm going to give you some background information on Favre. Now Favre was born Favre was born October 10th of 1969 in Mississippi, according to the editors of biography.com. His father's name Irvin, and Irvin's wife Bonita. Favre grew up with 3 older brothers who roughhoused him a little bit. That's hard for everybody. Now in high school, Favre started all 4 years at the University of North Central High School. He went to the state title game in 4 straight years, losing his freshman year on a Hail Mary pass, but won the other 3. Now Favre only received 1 scholarship, and that was from the University of Southern Miss, but he used that as inspiration to do better to make it to where he wanted to go in life. Now Favre broke every record in Southern Mississippi, starting all 4 years. He also knocked off the #1 team in the nation, Alabama. Now, next I'm going to tell you why he is famous. His career with the Green Bay Packers. He has played 16 seasons with the Packers, according to the NFL Timeline documentary. In his 16 seasons, in the first season, he took the Packers to the playoffs, their first time in 11 seasons. In 1995, he took them to the NFC Championship game for their first time in 20 years, when he also won MVP that year. The very next year, in 1996, they took them to the Super Bowl 31 and beat the Patriots 35-21. Favre won MVP that year also. Now the next year they made it back, but Favre didn't win. He still won MVP, but they lost in the Super Bowl to the Broncos, of course. Favre won 3 MVP awards with the Packers from 94 to 96, and they nicknamed him the Gunslinger because of his motivation and his pure arm strength he had. One of the amazing stats about Favre, he started 297 consecutive games with the Packers, never missing no matter what injury happened. Now a couple of memorable games from Favre in his time with the Packers. He threw for 4 touchdown passes against the Oakland Raiders the day after his father passed away. That was only halftime. He threw for 2 more touchdowns in the second half, throwing for 400 yards. Now the game I remember most from when Favre played with the Packers was in 2007, his final game with the Packers in the NFC Championship. They lost. It was very heartbreaking for me as a person because I love Favre and I wanted him to win, of course. He didn't. And now let's look at some setbacks in his life that he faced. Chuck Carlson wrote in America's Quarterback, Favre had many setbacks, but the first one happened in college. In his last season in college, he was in an almost fatal car accident. They never thought he would play again. A week later, Favre suited up. He had 30 inches of his intestines removed and lost 36 pounds. He still played and happened to beat the #1 team, Alabama Crimson Tide, that game, throwing for 3 touchdown passes. Now, in his first season with the Packers, he used a lot of painkillers. Of course, they were prescribed at first, but then it went overboard. Brett was claimed addicted, and he went to rehab for 45 days in Topeka, Kansas. He got over it with his wonderful wife that supported him through everything, Dana Favre. Now, his next thing, and Brett Favre's father, Irvin, passed away because of a heart attack at age 56. And of course, the next night, as I said earlier, he went to Oakland and played. A lot of people think he had a mediocre game, but he played lights out amazing. He was on another planet that game. Nobody knew how Favre played the way he did. Now the last setback I want to say in life is about his wife, Diana. Diana Favre was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2004. Favre had 2 daughters, so he had to hold the fort for the family during this. This is a very tough time for their family. She won her battle in 2006, which was an amazing thing to experience for the family. Tough to go through, but Favre got him through it, and of course she won. Now Favre didn't always stay with the Packers, of course. He was traded to the Jets in 2009. It was a mediocre year. Not many people remember it because they started 8-3, went 9-7, and missed the playoffs. The next move is what shocked everybody. He went to the arch rival Minnesota Vikings. Packers fans were furious. But NFL Timeline, of course, said that Favre in the summer of 2008 went to the Vikings, but it soon to be at 40 years old, his best season ever. There have been 33 touchdowns and only 7 interceptions. Favre took the Vikings, the team that wasn't even supposed to make the playoffs, to the NFC Championship game, and losing in overtime to the New Orleans Saints, who of course won in the Super Bowl by 21 points. People said that the NFC Championship was a way better game than the Super Bowl was. Now, more importantly, when he was with the Vikings, he played. Of course, everyone thinks about when he played the Packers. The first time when the Packers went to Minnesota, he threw for 3 touchdown passes and 320 yards. It was a great game for him. But everybody wanted to know how he would do when he went back to Green Bay in front of that fan base that he used to play for so many years. In Favre's return, Favre threw for 5 touchdown passes and 400 yards. They won 36-20. Now, the Packers fans they were mad at him for it, but they couldn't completely get over it. Of course, they loved Favre, everything he did. So now let's look at all the achievements that Favre had in his career, and with the Packers, of course. Alan Shipnuck wrote in Sportsman of the Year article, Favre won 1 Super Bowl, had 3 MVPs, he went to 11 Pro Bowls. But most importantly, with the Packers retired his number, gave him a spot in the Ring of Honor, and gave him a spot in the Packers Hall of Fame. Now, Favre held all passing records at one point in the NFL. He threw for 508 touchdown passes, 71,000 yards, 300 interceptions, yikes. He also had 186 wins and 298 starts consecutively without missing a game. That's pretty inspirational to me. You have to have motivation to play that many games in a row. But most of all, his biggest achievement, he went to in 2016 went to the Hall of Fame, NFL Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. That's where every NFL player wants to be someday. So now let's reflect over everything. I talked about his background in early life in college. I talked about his career with the Packers. I talked about his setbacks in life. And then I talked about how he went to the arch rival Vikings and all of his achievements. Now hopefully today, if you take anything out of this speech, look up to your icon, get inspiration from it, and do what you want to do with your life one day. Thank you.